What's up, everybody? How we doing? Welcome in. Welcome to Checkpoint Church for nerds, geeks, and gamers. We are glad that you are here. Trying to get this microphone in the right spot. I don't know why it's not cooperating today. It happens. How we doing? What's good, folks? How's life? I don't know why, but the chat is not loading in my streamer bot for some reason. Which is not swell. But what's weird is that it is loading the commands. It's just not loading the chat. So like I see Bats, thank you for your sub. I see DGC, thank you for your sub. But I don't see your comments, even though I know you did make comments. Maybe it's because they're in the sub. Try and comment outside of the sub. I wonder if that's what happened. Oh, there it goes. Yep, it was just because it was in the sub. That's so strange. Yes, so Bats, I did see that, and I would love for that to be good news for me, but it is not. But it is good news for some, and that makes me happy. I made the decision to sell mine, and so, yeah. Should anything ever happen, it won't happen to me. It was after the time where forgiveness was struck down, I think for the second time, and I was like, I am just gonna sell it. So I did. So the conference now owns mine, and I don't think that they will go along with the forgiveness. But I don't know. Maybe. Thank you for that sub, Marlena. Appreciate you. Let me see if you said something. You said, whoa, 1 year. That's cray. Thanks for being here for a whole year, Marlena. You're incredible. Put in my sub that I was happy to see the Kickoff streams. Yes, I did see them. I just didn't see them in this chat. It's in this chat that I can't really that I try not to look at. I look at that one more, you know. Hey, well, we're glad you're here. Glad that folks are hanging out with us today. Happy to have you as a part of the stream. We've got a lot to go through, I suppose. Not as much as some days. I think it'll be hopefully a shorter kickoff because I really got to go back to doing checkboxes. I have made a lot of headway today, but I may have gone a bit overboard on the things that take effort to do instead of the things that I can just go buy. And so I can, spoilers for anybody that doesn't want to know what's in your checkbox. One of the things is I'm 3D printing. Our theme is biblical literacy, how to read the Bible for all it's worth, that kind of stuff. And so I made a Buster Sword bookmark so it can slide down on a page. But the issue is that you can kind of see there how it's got a bit of a transparent bit. I have to shred that off. And it actually looks like this whenever it comes out of the 3D printer. So I have to cut all of that off, each and every one, and I have to make 30 of them. So they look great. But it's a lot of work. So that's one of the things that we're working on. And then I also had to build some things. And then we've started, tedious, exactly. We've started doing something special with the premium boxes just to make them a little bit more set apart, and so that takes time to do as well. So it's just a lot. It'll be all right. I'll be fine. But it's taking more time, which is something that I don't necessarily have the most of. Hey, speaking of Buster Swords, I have a new mug from Prof Noctis. From the Making Sense of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth series thumbnail, and then I Game and Know Things mug on the back. Super excited to have this now. It's not yet been washed, that's why I'm not drinking from it, but pretty cool stuff. We love the folks over at Prof Noctis. They're starting a new series, a new lecture play on Last of Us, so if you're interested in Naughty Dog, feel free to check that out. Hopefully you will enjoy. Other plans that we have for today, I'm gonna go start recording. Whoopsie. I forgot to record. So I don't always necessarily use the Kickstarter stuff, not Kickstarter, the Kickoff stuff, but sometimes I do. Anyway, plan for today. We're gonna watch the Nerdy Sermon together. We're going to watch 5 minutes of the Let's Play from last Monday. We're going to unbox a Manga Spice Cafe for probably February. I guess it could be January, as I'm never able to keep up with what month is what. So we'll unbox that together. And of course, we'll go through the One Stop Pop-Up. So all of the One Stop Pop-Up will be covered during today's stream, and then we'll go out after stream. That's how I usually try to do it. So that's what we got on the dock. I hope that everybody's doing well. Hope that your weeks went well. Hope you had a great weekend. Kendrick Lamar won the Super Bowl. Fantastic. Artistic excellence. Probably, for me, one of my favorite halftime shows. Which I understand from Facebook that is not the case. But my people on TikTok are bigger fans of it. So I will just look more to my TikTok than to my Facebook for this particular comment. It's most likely January's is the last two. Okay, well, there you go. Yeah, there's your answer. It must be January's. Incredible halftime show. I agree that. For me, one of the best. One of the best. Now, granted, I'm just a huge Kendrick fan, so that certainly helped it, but it honestly was more than that. It was bigger than Kendrick, which is a lot to say. So I was a big fan. The game, on the other hand, I was not a big fan of. I am not a fan of either team, but the game itself was just kind of a wash. It was kind of boring. And I'm not a big football fan. I mean, I'm not somebody that goes out of my way to watch it any other day than the Super Bowl, but I understand the game. And I just thought it was, I guess a very impressive game if you were an Eagles fan. But as somebody that was a fan of neither team, it was just kind of, it was like watching somebody play against an easy bot on Madden or something. And they ramped it up to medium somewhere in the second half. It was like an intermediate level. But the halftime show stole it for me. There were some good commercials, not great, but there were some that were very good. I think the Seal commercial was fantastic. There were also a lot of not great commercials, especially if you're anti-AI. There were some rough ones thrown in there, but, cultural hallmark, all that. We did take communion at the hour mark, so paused the show to take communion together, which I thought was incredible. What a cool opportunity to be able to offer that in the middle of people that were maybe at a Super Bowl party, just being able to step away for a second and join us for communion and enjoy that time together. I thought that was unique. I know of a lot of churches that host Super Bowl parties, and I don't think they stop for communion at the hour mark. No soup, no bowls. I don't know. It looked pretty cold. Maybe there were some people with soups. And a bowl, I was going to say you could get ice cream in a bowl, but that's baseball. You can get your ice cream in a little hat. The owls were only okay, not superb at all. You take that right back, Bats. Every owl is a superb owl. They're all my favorites. I've never met an owl I didn't like. Prove me wrong. You can't. You can't. Okay, let's see. What ought we to do first? What should we start with for this time together? I think we should go through the One Stop Pop-Up. That's what we're going to start with, yeah? All right. So for those of you that do not know what I'm talking about, what is the One Stop Pop-Up? This is our weekly newsletter that goes out. You can go to tothecheckpoint.com and subscribe to this newsletter, get it sent directly to your email each and every Monday. Oh man, the camera down there has got my hey everybody. Hey, it's a 2-camera setup situation. We don't need all that. Which one is it, you think? This one? There we go. That threw me off. Okay. Anyway, we're going to go through some of the things that happened last week in the newsletter world, so we can talk about them together. Every week in the One Stop Pop-Up, we have a poll. This week's poll is, what is your preference, audiobook, digital book, or physical book? Last week's was single player or multiplayer games, and we were by and large single player games. I think it was like 86%, so that's a pretty big deal. What is new this week? What's been going on? The Nerdy Sermons officially returned this past Sunday. Our first Nerdy Sermon back was on a video game called Until Then, an indie game that was our Button Bash Brigade game last year that rocked my world. That absolutely blew me away, that I couldn't stop thinking about, still can't stop thinking about, and so I had to write a Nerdy Sermon on it. It was a fun one. It was one that talked about the wise man who built his house on rock and the foolish man who built his house on shifting sand, and talking about how we're able to move forward in our lives past the mistakes of the past, because both of them, both the wise and the foolish man, both knew what the truth was. They had both heard the good news. One of them chose to apply it and one of them didn't, and so that was crucial to the experience of that game. All right, the second thing, we are offering a new Bible study opportunity. One of our Level 2 members, Wise and Lemur, is going to start offering that next week, next Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern. This is going to be an hour-long Bible study with a video to watch, some questions to engage with, and it's not going to feature me, which is fun. As a pastor, it's always my joy whenever people from within the community are willing to host things in and of themselves. So this will be happening next week. It is a 4-part series, so very low commitment. It's just 4 hours over the process of a month. That's pretty low stakes. And this is going to be dealing with Methodism. We are a United Methodist organization, United Methodist church plant. And so we have our roots in Methodism, but maybe the folks that find us aren't Christian or at least aren't Methodist, and maybe you have some questions. Maybe you want to know more about what is Methodism? What's this whole thing about? You want to talk about it? You want to learn about it? This is put together by our commission on history, the folks that talk about the history of our church. They put together this Bible study, and so that will be starting up next Wednesday. No sign up, no RSVP. If you want to be notified about it, the event will be popping up on our events bar on our Discord. So be sure to join our Discord to get access to that. Also, if you missed it last week, our Indiegogo campaign did get extended out a couple weeks, so we have another week left of that. We set a $10,000 goal. We have not gotten anywhere close to that, folks. We need your help. If you are on the fence about helping us with this, funding us in this way, helping our Nerdy Sermons be funded, we need your help. We are not there, and we need to be. It is tough to make ends meet whenever you're a digital church, and this is a way that we're trying to explore how can we give back to you, and so we are applying a lot of perks. We're giving behind-the-scenes footage. We're doing a lot of extra things to try and incentivize people to support us financially, and it has sort of worked. I mean, 12 backers is more than none, you know? But we still need your help. So if you are feeling led to give any amount of money towards our Nerdy Sermons, if you've been impacted by our Nerdy Sermons in the past, I want to encourage you to check out our Indiegogo campaign and support us, because we need your help to keep these things going. We've made an impact. Your name will be listed on the video. So if you want to be a part of reaching 4.6 million accounts next year, maybe even more than that, then be sure to help us out. Help us reach out. Help us do this work. We need your assistance. Some things to mark on your calendars. If you are a calendar marking person, I'm going to be out of office a little bit this month, the 16th through the 18th and the 27th to the 28th, and then into March 1st and 2nd, which I think is that last weekend. I will be at the Fresh Expressions of the United Methodist Conference. Going to be a great time. And then next week I'm on district committee, so I will be listening to some wonderful folks. Okay, this shouldn't say no kickoff, so we've already got an adjustment here. It's from last week. So we do have a kickoff stream every Monday. We have our level 2 debrief tomorrow at noon. We have lunch at noon on Wednesday. We have Twig Thursday nights now, which started back last week. If you missed out on the first episode of Twig, it is up on our YouTube channel under the live tab. You can check that out. And then Man and Mingle DLC at 8 p.m. this Sunday. Actually, that is not true. We will not have Man and Mingle DLC this Sunday. And this is why we do this live, so that I can edit through and figure out what things are true and things are not true. Some things to know about level 2. Level 2 is our first level of leadership here at Checkpoint. These are people that let me know that they want to serve this community, not just be served by this community. If that describes you, then check out level 2. Let me know if you are interested. DM me, !level 2 in the chat here on Twitch. I don't have any commands set up on YouTube, but eventually I will do that. And you can join over there. Again, if you want to financially support us outside of the Indiegogo campaign, if you want to set up a recurring tithe, we are a real-life church. We're a real-life 501c3, and we are really supported by people that fund us via their tithes and donations. So if you're interested in being a part of that, whether that's a one-time tithe or a recurring tithe every week, month, whatever you want it to be, you can support us at Give Checkpoint or any of the places that is linked to. Or of course, if you get this email, that's a great way to do it as well. Speaking of our finances, this is where we're sitting currently as of February 10th for this month. You can see all of our various different forms of funding and then how much we are lacking for our budget for the month. So we are under budget, but if you are interested in helping us, then we could greatly appreciate whatever you're able to do. And then content. This is all the things that we created last week that came out. Until then, Nerdy Sermon happened this past Sunday. Last week's Omori Let's Play episode was episode 9, of which we are going to have to figure out how to keep it going because I'm out of episodes at the end of the month, which means either we're going to need to have a Omori stream to fill in the gaps of the part that I just completely lost somehow, or I'll try and do that on my own time. I haven't figured out which one makes more sense yet, but we will figure it out when we get there. And then the demo that came out today was the Fishbowl demo. And then Twig Season 5, Episode 1, as I mentioned, aired last Thursday. And we would love to get your comments, your likes, all your things over in that space then and there. Okay, I think that's everything. I'm pretty sure that's all of the things, unless I forgot something, which is entirely possible, but I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure that's all of them. So I'll be sending that out here in the next hour and a half as we wrap up stream and move into the next part of our day. So if that is something that you would like to check out, then you should. And again, that is tothecheckpoint.com. Let's see. What's next? Should we watch the Nerdy Sermon? Should we watch our Let's Play? Should we do the unboxing? I say we end with the unboxing. So maybe what we'll do right now is we'll watch the first 5 minutes of our Let's Play, then we'll watch our Nerdy Sermon, and then after that, we'll do our unboxing, and then we'll call it a day. Yeah? Cool? Hopefully that's cool. We're going to pause Spoofy. Everybody say bye, Spoofy. And then I'm not sure which one it is. I think it's... Okay, we're gonna start off with our... Cryptmaster 5 minutes Let's Play. I loved this game, and I can't wait to share with you the first 5 minutes. It's one of my favorite demos we've ever played. So here we go. Take it away. Cryptmaster. We'll see how this goes. If you don't know a word, try different combinations of letters. There are only 26 in the alphabet, and so you might get lucky. Thanks for the tip, bud. What the heck? The Countess Alara has had 6 husbands. There's a nice rhyme to remember how they died. Murder, murder, murder. Murder fell off a bridge, murder. Tales from the Crypt Creature. I'm wondering. The paladins of Shalia are recruited from the most pious citizens. Dipped in Shalia's healing broth, they emerge from the firm musculature of Kalunian ditch wrestlers. Now, that one I didn't know. Yeah, so this game is actually already out.
Ago, a great evil rose to threaten the fledgling kingdoms of men, until it was forced back down into the darkness by a group of legendary heroes. Now,
you guys hear okay?
Centuries later, these mighty heroes sleep beneath the earth, entombed and forgotten, in the realm of the Crypt.
The Crypt Master. Oh, yes, indeed. Indeed, the Crypt Master. Begin real-time, begin turn-based. I don't know what that means, okay? Up, down, left, right, enter, back. Rotate camera is that plus Alt. Alternate movements is that plus shift. Okay. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening at all. I'm very confused. We're going to find out together, you and I.
Can you hear me?
I hear ya. Yes. Yes.
Good. I'm calling to you from beyond the veil that separates the living and the dead. You're on the dead side.
Cool. Hilarious.
Now, how are you feeling?
I'm good.
Oh, good. That's
Ever played Texorcist? I have not.
Is there anything I can do to make you even more comfortable?
Coffee.
Actually, I withdraw the question. I don't care.
Cool. I like your horns.
Now, move.
They're just enough off center that it makes me
toward the
uncomfortable.
light.
Whoa! Turn around.
Welcome to my
Oh, cool.
or should I say, your crypt.
What?
Why don't you take a look around?
This is kind of crazy. What is this?
Oh, these names look a little familiar, don't they? Let's get those rotten old brains of yours working. Why don't you try reading out the names on those pillars?
Am I supposed to know what their names are? Sam. No.
You just need to read the names.
Oh, just what's there? Like it could just be Maz?
As the melodious,
Okay.
renowned bard.
What was that?
Mix the sea witch. There you are. Joro the warrior. That's you.
This game is silly.
Deadly sin, thief, and assassin.
Woo!
Now you have your names again. Let's move along.
This is silly. Oh. Okay. Is that a treasure chest? Do not seek the treasure. Cool.
Now these chests contain objects I've long since forgotten. I expect you have too. But maybe if we can remember what they were called, it will help to restore your memories of life.
Okay.
Now, Jaro, I think this is something you used in your days as a warrior. Tell me what I should do to it to find out what it is.
What? Oh, look, feel, listen, smell, taste. Alrighty, and that is the first 5 minutes of Crypt Master. If you're interested in watching the full thing, feel free to go over to our Crypt Point channel. We post demos every single Monday. That was last week's Monday post, and that is one of our favorites. I love Crypt Master so much. I think Twyla was the one that said they might recommend Crypt Master for our next Button Bash Brigade video game club game, and I would be overjoyed to play more of that experience. Such a good game, so ridiculously funny. With that, we're going to watch our nerdy sermon together from this past week. So this is, again, on Until Then. If you've already watched it, then, hey, you can watch it again, or you can pop out for the next 12-ish minutes, whatever works best for you. But this is, for those of you that maybe didn't even know that we do these nerdy sermons or are curious about what a nerdy sermon even is, I'll be around to answer questions on the other side if you have any, or we'll get right into the Manga Spice Cafe. So without further ado, here is the Until Then Nerdy Sermon. Enjoy. Look, if you've been around this channel for long enough, you have learned by now that I am an absolute sucker for games that make you feel something. I have long purported, despite its confusing name, that Games for Impact is my favorite category of the Game Awards. I don't really care how good or bad the gameplay is. If the story of a game is good enough, I am gonna gobble it up like Thanksgiving dinner. So when a game like Until Then walks into my life, I'm gonna drop everything else I'm doing and hyperfixate to the point that my ADHD meds just say, yeah, we can't help you there. What I'm really trying to say here is that Until Then is one of those life-changing video games. And I can't stop thinking about it. I'm not sure that I ever will. But why? What's the deal? And should you play this one? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Checkpoint Church, where nerds, geeks, and gamers come together to talk about faith, games, and yep, it's time for another Nerd Pastor Nate weird, sad indie game. Speaking of, I am your Nerd Pastor Nate. If you like these weekly deep dives, be sure to sub, hit that bell, and find out when the next one drops. As always, we'll be starting with our scripture. Take it away.
Everyone then who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall because it had been founded on rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God.
Until Then is a narrative adventure game following the life of a young man named Mark who is living an ordinary school life in the Philippines, except of course for The Ruling. The Ruling is a mysterious event that happened somewhere else and is a series of natural disasters ruining life for others, but not us. Not us, because we have important stuff to worry about, like the cute girl that we're working on a school project with, or our strong desire to learn to play the piano, and of course, the crippling anxiety over our missing mother who our dad is spending every waking moment trying to find, leaving us heartbreakingly alone. That's not such a big deal though, because girls, and school, and friends. As time goes on for Mark, he becomes acquainted with his love interest via an anime meet-cute of running down the hallway and knocking into her whilst painting. Classic. Her name is Nicole, and she's kind of abrasive, which we learn is because her family was displaced by The Ruling, but Mark is into her dude anyway, and the flirting ensues. As they talk and learn more about each other, they both acknowledge that they feel like they've always known each other. Aw, cute. No! Not cute. The game does something that I've not really seen before. See, you have to play hours of this story, which is great. I'm not knocking it. I want to play a lot of this game, but you have to play through a sizable chunk before you learn this is a looping game narrative. It'd be like if the movie Looper wasn't called Looper, but was called like weird looking Bruce Willis and didn't acknowledge that time loop until credits rolled, and then you had to watch the movie a second time to actually get that it was a loop narrative. It's weird, is what I'm getting at. This game really doesn't acknowledge the most pivotal part of the game until you've gotten to the end once already, which turns out to be very intentional and super well done. And probably the reason why I like the game so much. See, Mark and Nicole feel like they know each other because they do. This is a loop, and the loop has happened already. They know each other, they have known each other, and are knowing each other once again. Now, I won't spoil the whole plot and tell you what's actually going on with The Ruling, but I will say that this is the core of why we're talking about this game in this sermon. Why is a loop necessary for the story that this game is trying to tell? As we learn more about their respective stories, we learn that Nicole and Mark are both dealing with regrets from the past, things left unsaid, things that shouldn't have been said, pain that led to more pain, loss that led to more loss, cruelty from a hurt person. The game doesn't want to tell that story though. It wants to tell a story about progress. It wants to tell a story about moving on and past the hauntings of the past. But until then, understands that on a deeper level, we can't really get past the past until we process it and address the skeletons in our closet. We must do the work before we can move onward. The root of the loop is that a mysterious third party is trying to help Nicole and Mark move into a better life and a happier existence. But they just keep making the same mistakes. No matter how many loops or parallel worlds Mark and Nicole keep finding each other, and they keep making the same mistake of living in the past. And that brings us to our scripture passage for this one. Matthew 7 is a chapter out of the Gospel of Matthew, and it's one in which Jesus offers this concluding parable after several serious messages. Jesus says, "Do not judge, have faith in the midst of uncertainty. This isn't going to be easy. Watch out for people who are false prophets. You'll know the true disciples by those who I know, and then we get this parable. There are two men, one wise and one foolish. The wise man hears the word and builds his house on solid rock. When floods come, he's good to go. The foolish man hears the words and does nothing, builds his house on sand, and the floods come and he falls. Now, what is Jesus doing here with this whole chunk if we back up? We have knowing and changing. We have knowing and not changing. In both cases, we have knowing. All of these things relate to that central idea. Do not judge. If we're judging, we have some idea of what should be judge-worthy. Have faith in uncertainty. We have something to have faith in. False prophets, well, they know the truth and preach otherwise. False disciples, they know the words, but don't do the will. All of these are examples of the parabolic wise and foolish man. The fool is not a fool out of ignorance. It must be an intentional choice. This is the treatise of Until Then. There's a choice being made. Mark and Nicole are given chance after chance after chance to make the right choice, and they just can't do anything but keep building their house on the shifting sand. Now, the obvious dissonance here is that they forget most of the past with each reset. It's all just kind of hazily familiar until it isn't. But that's exactly what Jesus is saying as well. I've given you the tools and the words and the will. I've been specific about what we're doing here, and you keep going back and doing the same old thing. Jesus gives us the words, and Christians hear them. This is a message to people who have been introduced to Jesus. There's no room for ignorance here. It must be willfully choosing to do that which we aren't to do. This pretty directly aligns with the Wesleyan understanding of grace. Grace is a thing that happens a myriad of ways, but it's not really a one-stop situation. It's a journey. We start with prevenient grace, which is the belief that God is working in our lives before we ever even realize it. But there's this moment that most Christians stop the buck at: justifying grace. This is where we acknowledge Jesus as our Savior and we're baptized, but the story doesn't end. Life keeps being lived. What changes is how we live. We enter into a space of sanctifying grace, a graceful space of being made perfect. Small steps, what we call the means of grace. These can be nearly any imaginable way that we draw closer to God, whether it be prayer, worship, or community, but also video games, storytelling, yoga, coloring books. What's important is that it's a pursuit of God. All of this is parallel to the message for Mark and Nicole. They're stuck in the poor theology loop of justification without continuing holy living in sanctification. Life is not about static stoicism. It's about an active and dynamic growth towards what God is doing in us and in this place. But what does this mean for us today? How can we see and relate to this concept? I think of those who proclaim themselves Christian and find a way to negotiate themselves into harming their neighbors. Like, say, decrying the supposed sin of empathy. That isn't Jesus, folks. Jesus is pretty explicit with the words we ought to hear. The greatest two commandments: love God and love neighbor. If we aren't doing these two things, and it seems clear to me, we're hearing the words and choosing to build on sand. There is no security in a path that allows for us to not love our neighbor. We can believe that we're more safe with our capitalist blankets or physical violence or our deadly weapons, but the illusion is all sand in the end. If we're not loving our neighbor, we're ignoring the words of Jesus on purpose, plain and simple. The longer that I've been a follower of Jesus instead of a follower of what I simply hear others saying, the more that I recognize the way that we can settle into things that simply aren't what Jesus said out of a desire for comfort. An easy layup is acknowledging the church's complicity in early American slavery. We weren't just involved in it, we were justifying it with our scripture. There is no rendering of scripture that takes the words of Jesus seriously in the two greatest commandments where that is ever acceptable, ever. End of story. That's hearing the words of Jesus and building on sand. And it continues. Every time we support our ideologies over the call to love our neighbor, we lay another brick on the foundation for a house on sand. It's time like these that I am thankful for the Methodist tradition. Prima Scriptura. Scripture is our primary lens, not our only lens. We don't just hear the words. We bring in reason, tradition, experience. We discern and engage with Scripture because we take the words of Jesus seriously. Until Then is a haunting reminder that we are never going to make any progress until we learn from the past cycle of harm that we've caused. We're continuing to land on that shifting sand over and over, but the past isn't meant to be emulated. It's meant to be learned from. Just like the mysterious third party shifting Mark and Nicole into a new timeline to make different choices, Jesus keeps offering another day to build our houses on the rock. We are never so far gone that Jesus doesn't say, finally, I recognize you. But like Jesus warns, simply hearing isn't enough. And it's not easy. The path is narrow, but it's also very simple. Love. The core issue is that many of us aren't even on that path. We're stuck in the loop of never moving into the sanctifying grace God is working in us. And like Nicole and Mark, we will always learn better together than we will on our own. So if you want a community that's doing our very best to learn how to better love and not just hear the words of Jesus, but know them, then know that Checkpoint Church would love to have you. Join our Discord server, come nerd out, and learn how we're loving God and our neighbor and building our house on rock instead of sand. Because whether you're a high schooler plugging along in life, a whiz kid caught up in a bad time, or the best girl who I didn't even get to talk near enough about in this sermon, know that you're always welcome here at Checkpoint Church. Folks, thank you so much for watching this one. I so appreciate you taking time out of your busy days to join us on these nerdy deep dives. If you are looking for more of Checkpoint Church, we are now streaming every Monday over on Twitch and YouTube, and here on YouTube every Thursday is where Twig is now happening. If you believe in our mission to serve nerds, geeks, and gamers, I want to encourage you to give to Checkpoint Church. We'll link down below if you want to give a one-time gift, or if you'd like to set up a regular tithe down there, that would be awesome as well. But maybe you don't consider Checkpoint to be your church and just want to take this nerdy sermon and apply it in your own church context. Well, we have a website just for you called JesusLovesNerds.com, where this and many other nerdy sermons will have Bible study curriculum that will be available for you to use in your small group or the like. If you're looking for others to watch just like this one, might I recommend A Space for the Unbound, a game that has very similar vibes, or The Wreck, a game that just has sad vibes, or Slay the Princess, which does an interesting thing with time loops as well. Hey, quick question for you before you go. What video game character have you related to the most? A lot of the characters in this game were very, very relatable. I'd love to hear what character you have traditionally related to. Look for my response down in the comments as well. Folks, with that, we're going to end this one with the 3 things that we believe to be true about. I think we'll be good to wrap it right there. So hopefully you all enjoyed that look. Glad to have the nerdy sermons officially back. Glad to have all the good things happening in all the various spaces that Checkpoint has. We're going to turn Spoofy back on. We're going to unbox our Manga Spice Cafe box really quick. And then we're going to get right back to packing those check boxes. That's actually what I was working on while you guys were watching that. I have cut, let's see, I think another 8 of the Buster Swords. So we're making headway. We're making headway. If it is actually 8, then we have, let's see. It is 9. So that means I only have 13 left to cut. Killing it. Absolutely killing it. Okay, let's get the Manga Spice Cafe up here. For those of you who've never heard of Manga Spice Cafe, this is a manga subscription box that sends 3 manga as well as a myriad of Eastern snacks to my door every single month. I love it. They do not sponsor me, but they could. Quit playing Manga Spice Cafe. I will happily accept the sponsorship, okay? Because I love your product and I love the stuff that you guys do, and I welcome it. But let's go ahead and get this going up so that we can see. Boink. Whoa, it's way too zoomed in. Okay. I'm afraid that will just have to do. We're going to go ahead and unbox this bad boy, see what's inside. So again, as I mentioned earlier, it has 3 manga each and every month, and it is themed after a maid cafe. I'm going to move the camera. So this is our maid cafe girl here of Sword and Snow. I'm guessing that it is our January edition here. Let's read just her introduction before we look at what's inside. I am Maid Miyuki-chan. The care package I made for you is based on this month's theme of Sword and Snow. Let's read some dark and wintry manga involving romance, fantasy, and action. I also packed some Asian snacks, sweets, and noodles, plus a light and fragrant apple jasmine drink. Enjoy. Let's see what we've got in here. All right. So we have pure potato. Pure potato. We have pure potato. There's nothing but potato in here. We have some kind of custardy-filled cake treat. We got some chocolate chip cocoa. Country Ma'am. Country Ma'am? Country Ma'am? This sounds like it's from my neck of the woods. All right. Got our apple jasmine drink here. We'll give it a try. We have fruit blocks, mixed fruit here from Afmao. Got a little Doraemon treat of some sort, some kind of rice cake, another one. We've got our little cereal, our little star cereal here. It looks like maybe vanilla ice cream flavored, which I'm super excited for. All right, and then we have a Dewberry. Dewberry, strawberries and cream, not my favorite, but we'll go for it. All right, then we have our manga, but of course we also have our ramen here. Our ramen is onion chicken flavor this time, instant noodles. We'd love to see it. Won't be trying those on stream, obviously. Don't have time to make that. Now let's take a look at what manga we got this time. See what's in store for us. If you ever want to check out what I think of the manga, I do read every single one of them, and I always post my thoughts over on my story graph, so consider checking out that. Cool? Cool. All right, first up, we have Firefly Wedding. This one is by Oriko Tachibana, both the story and the art. And it is an older teen manga here from Viz Media and Shoujo Beat. Let's give it a read. Afflicted with a heart condition, Meiji-era noblewoman Satoko is determined to secure a marriage that will benefit her family before she dies. But before she can realize her goal, she's targeted by a mysterious assassin named Shinpei. In a last-ditch effort to save her life, Satoko asks her would-be murderer to marry her. Her proposal isn't sincere, but unfortunately for her, Shinpei loves as intensely as he kills. Can Satoko find a way to break the engagement without losing her life? On the surface, Satoko has it all. She's beautiful, the daughter of a nobleman, and at the prime age for marriage. Unfortunately, she is also quite ill, and only has a short time left to live. What a twist there! Before she can secure a marriage that will redeem her... Oh, maybe it's because of the assassination. Before she can secure a marriage that will redeem her worth in her family's eyes, she finds herself the target of the mysterious assassin Shinpei, and her plans are put in jeopardy. In order to save herself, she makes a desperate proposal of marriage. When it comes to love, okay, they just said the same thing twice, huh? That's the same thing. They just said the same thing twice, yeah? Okay, whatever. This is a $12 Firefly Wedding. I actually feel like they just made an anime of this. This feels very familiar as a print, like a concept. I know this theme somewhere. All right, let's see. Manga Spice Cafe also gives 10 points every single month. Whenever you get 12 of them, you can send it in and get yourself a free box. So there's my 10 points there down in the bottom of the box. All right, let's look at our next manga, which is Snowball Earth. Looks like story and art by Yuhiro Tsuchisugu. In the year 2025, huge beasts from beyond the galaxy attacked Earth. In the war that followed, humanity fought back with a giant robot named Yukio, piloted by Tetsuo Yabusame. As the massive alien swarm closed in on humanity's homeworld, Tetsuo and the Earth Defense Force deployed for the final battle with the invading horde. They lost. Yukio was destroyed in battle, and Tetsuo survived in an escape pod. After 8 years in cold sleep, the escape pod finally lands back on Earth. But when Tetsuo emerges, he finds a world in ruins, entirely frozen, beneath a blanket of ice and snow. Snowball Earth. This is such a serious thing that's happening, and they're like, Earth's a big snowball. What happened to humanity? How did the planet freeze over? And will Tetsuo be able to keep his last promise to Yukio? All right, $15 manga though. That's an expensive one there from Viz. A signature manga. We love to see it. All right, last but not least, our third manga for this time is Medalist by Suru Maikata. All right, let's give it a look. This one's from Kodansha Comics. We love to see a little variety from the Viz of the world. Inori is a little girl who dreams of becoming a figure skater, yet the obstacles to this dream feel insurmountable. Inori's already too old. She's 11. She's always had trouble at school, and worst of all, her older sister's skating dreams ended in failure. So Inori's mother is dead set against putting Inori through it too. Still, the rink is the only place Inori can be herself, and she's out on the ice when a fateful meeting takes place. Tsukasa is an ice skater who almost reached the global stage but couldn't quite make it, and he's about to give up on skating altogether when he spots Inori on the ice. Now the two will join to form an unstoppable duo powered by hard work, transcendent joy, and an unshakable belief that they can prove everyone wrong. Cool. A story about learning to believe in yourself sounds like my kind of story, so I'm actually pretty excited about this one, although I have no stakes on figure skating, but that's no big deal. So between these three, we've got a $12, a $15, and a $14. So by my counts, that would be a $41 box. $41 box. This box costs, I think, $35, and then it ends up adding up to more like $44 after shipping and handling. So Already, without the snacks even tasting good, we are over. We got more. We got the bang for the buck. These are also 3 that I have never heard of. First volumes, they're not spinoffs, and they sound great. I can't wait. Let's see if there's anything we need to know about any of these before we get into it. Firefly Wedding, I don't see that she's worked on anything else. Same for Tsuchisugu. And they do have other stuff, but nothing else that's like super notable. And then Medalist. Nope. Both of these are all of these volume. Oh, no, that's not true. Firefly Wedding is only on volume 2, but the other ones are like way into their series. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, interesting. So I'm glad that I looked this up. Afmal, this one is a YouTuber. YouTube Afmal has come out with adorably cute block-shaped fruit gummies. How about that? This is a YouTuber? Cute. All right. That's all that I see worth looking at. Let's go ahead and try our bevy. Cleanse our palate. No. All right, so we have an apple jasmine juice box here. Maybe. Goodness. All right. Kanpai. Delightful. Tastes just like apple juice. Apple juice with a slight floral note to it. We're going to start with savory and then work our way over into sweet. So we're going to start with pure potato. This bad boy is pure potato. I've never seen such potato. All right, let's give it the old college try. It looks like a potato chip to me. That is pure potato. It's also like original flavor, so it's not much to it. Tastes like it's supposed to, I reckon. I don't know. All right, let's see. Next up, made in Taiwan here. It's like we got some kind of buttery corn snack this time. I don't see any particular flavor written on the package, just corn, so these are my favorite. Ah, delightful. It's just straight butter, y'all. It just tastes just like butter. It's so good. I'm such a fan. All right, last of our savory section here. We got another little Doraemon treat. No telling what flavor this one is, but we'll give it a try. That's fishy. That's fishy. I don't know what flavor that is, but it's fishy. I can't tell. But that wasn't for me. I'm not a fish person, so. All right, we'll need an amuse-bouche here. All right. Let's go with... Let's start with our little cake here. That'll be a good starter. So some kind of custardy cake. It looks like egg. So maybe this is actually savory. All right, we got some kind of cake here. It does have a little custardy center. Oh, that's very good. I'm not picking up on any particular flavor. I don't taste egg. But it's good. It's good. It's a cream-filled cake. What's not to love? Next up, we'll do a little strawberry dewberry. Not a big fan of the dewberry cookies. I find that the little fruit in the center is like rock hard every time. Yep. I do like the strawberry more than the blueberry for what it's worth. Not bad. Not bad. All right, I'm going to save this one for last because it's the one that I'm the most excited about. So next we're going to do the chocolate cookie cocoa. Chocolate cookie cocoa country, ma'am. Country, ma'am. Well, pardon me, miss. But that appears to just be a cookie. That is a country ma'am cookie if I've ever seen one. That is not very good. That is a country ma'am cookie. I don't know why that exists. Who wants a cookie? A single cookie? Not for me. Not for me. All right, let's try this YouTuber Afmau's Fruit Blocks mixed fruit. Give it a try. I don't know if they're like a VTuber because they have the little animated character, or if they just like cutesy things. All right, so they are straight up just blocks. For some reason, I had in my mind these were going to be like Lego. That's very good. Well, that's fantastic for what it's worth. But I did expect, they're almost like they're like a matte texture. They don't stick in the teeth though. I'm gonna keep those out. Those are good. Well done, whoever you are, Afmal. All right, last but not least, we've got our ice cream cereal. I'm very excited to see how this tastes. I am a vanilla fan. I don't know if anybody else is a fan of vanilla ice cream. All right, they are giant. They smell like ice cream cones. All right, you guys want to try? I think those are pretty apt. It tastes just like an ice cream cone. The vanilla, it's very rich. Tastes just like the ice cream waffle cone, the cakey cone, not waffle, cakey cone. Good. Well, there you go. All of the snacks were pretty good, except for the yes ma'am, whatever the cookie was. That was kind of just okay. But the rest of them were all pretty decent, pretty good. And then the manga was worth more than the box. So it is a win-win-win for me. I'm giving it a big old 2 thumbs ups. Manga Spice Cafe, good job. You killed it with this one. We love to see it. And listen, you want to be a sponsor? Come on, let's talk about it. Let's make it happen. I'm here. I'm here. I've been a Manga Spice Cafe person, and maybe that's the problem. Is that I keep doing it for free. So I'm going to keep doing it for free, but we could talk. We could be friends. We could do it. Anyway, that's actually, we're going to wrap up this stream, and we are also going to be wrapping up this Manga Spice Cafe video for YouTube. So we're going to close out of both. Folks, if you are not on our Discord, you need to get there. It's the best place to be. We have a ton of fun over there. We would love to get to know you better. Discord.gg/checkpointchurch. Because we are a real life church. I'm a real life pastor, and I really believe 3 things to be true about each and every one of you. Whether you believe in God, don't believe in God, go to church, don't go to church, hate God, hate church, none of those things change the 3 things that I believe to be true about you. Number 1, I believe that God loves you. Really, really loves you. Number 2, we love you. We want community with you. That's what we're doing here at Checkpoint. We want to be a part of this community of nerds, geeks, and gamers who talk about manga, who eat these silly snacks, who play video games, who talk about these things together. And then number 3, that you matter. You're a person of sacred worth. The world's a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Folks, with that, let me wrapping up the stream. We're going to be hanging out on Wednesday for lunch over in the Discord. We are going to be... we don't have our next pilgrimage planned, but we'll get that planned before too long. Of course, we got another nerdy sermon coming out this Sunday. Got a twig Thursday night. So we got lots of other stuff happening, and we hope to see you then and there. Until next time, folks.